Have you ever noticed how some people can completely derail a conversation, spin reality, or make you feel like you're losing your mind, all without ever raising their voice? They don't yell, they don't insult you directly. Instead, they use a subtle weapon. They hint, they imply, they use corporate jargon, backhanded compliments, or selective silence to put you on the defensive. They drop a vague comment in a meeting or a passive-aggressive text at night, and then they sit back and watch you scramble to explain yourself. It is an invisible game, and for a long time, you've probably played along, trying to use logic, trying to defend your character, or trying to prove your point. Did it work? No, because manipulators do not operate in the realm of facts. They operate in the fog. But there is one specific tool that cuts through that fog instantly. It is a tool that requires zero shouting, zero emotional energy, and zero defensiveness. It is the one thing a manipulator genuinely cannot handle: a direct, hyper-focused question. By the end of this video, you're going to understand the exact psychology of why direct questions completely dismantle a manipulator's brain, and the exact phrases you can use to take back control of any room. Stay with me, because once you see this, you can never be manipulated the same way again. But before we talk about the questions, you need to understand the environment a manipulator needs to survive. A manipulator cannot function in clarity. Think of them like a terrible magician. A magician relies on misdirection, getting you to look at their right hand so you don't see what their left hand is doing. A manipulator does the exact same thing. They rely on plausible deniability. If they say something insulting at a family dinner, they wrap it in a joke. If they try to steal credit for your project at work, they wrap it in team collaboration. If you call them out on it, they instantly use their emergency exit route. You're taking it the wrong way. I never said that, or you're being hypersensitive. When you get angry or when you start defending yourself, you're actually validating their strategy. You're jumping into the fog with them. Your emotional reaction gives them a new target. Now, the conversation is no longer about their bad behavior. It's about your emotional reaction. But a direct question changes the entire geometry of the interaction. It stops you from defending yourself, and it forces them to step out of the fog and into the clear light of day. There are 3 specific types of direct questions that completely break a manipulator's script. Firstly, the clarifying pivot. When a manipulator drops a vague, passive-aggressive insult under the guise of constructive feedback or a joke, do not get defensive. Do not smile it off. Look at them calmly, take a slight pause, and ask, "What exactly do you mean by that?" Or, "Can you explain the joke to me?" "I don't think I understand." This is devastating to a manipulator. Why? Because it forces them to do the one thing they are terrified of: explicitly state their hidden malice. If they have to explain the insult, it ceases to be a subtle jab and becomes open hostility. Most of the time, they will immediately fold, stutter, and back down with an "oh, nothing, don't worry about it." Secondly, the outcome check. Manipulators love to move the goalposts, especially in professional settings. They will give vague instructions or change expectations to keep you feeling insecure. When you sense this happening, stop the conversation and ask, "Just so we are completely aligned, what is the exact outcome you are looking for here?" By asking for an exact outcome, you are pinning them down to a metric. You are forcing them to establish a concrete rule. A manipulator hates rules because once a rule is established, they can no longer manipulate the narrative. Thirdly, the motivation mirror. This is the most powerful one of all. When someone tries to guilt trip you or subtly twist reality to make you feel responsible for their issues, look at them with quiet curiosity and ask, "What are you hoping to accomplish by telling me this right now?" This question is a psychological mirror. It bypasses the words they are saying and shines a massive spotlight directly on their hidden agenda. It forces them to look at their own dirty hands. You aren't arguing with their points. You are questioning their entire operation. Notice what happens to your internal energy when you switch from defending yourself to asking direct questions. When you defend yourself, you are acting like a suspect in an interrogation room. You are burning through your adrenaline, your heart rate is spiking, and you are seeking their approval. But the moment you shift to asking calm, direct questions, the roles reverse. You become the investigator. You are no longer the one on trial. You have calmly handed the burden of proof back to the person who actually owns it. You don't have to get angry. You don't have to get loud. In fact, the calmer and more polite your voice is when you ask these questions, the more terrifying you become to a manipulator. They are used to dealing with people who react. They are utterly powerless against someone who observes. So this week I want you to try an experiment. The very next time someone tries to subtly slide a passive-aggressive comment past you, do not rush to fix it. Pause, take a breath, and ask a direct question. Watch how quickly their confidence evaporates. If you are ready to stop playing the invisible game and start protecting your mental peace, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. And drop a comment below. What is the most common passive-aggressive phrase you hear at work or in your relationships? Let's break it down in the comments together. I'll see you in the next video.